Just wait a couple more minutes for the others to join. We've got about 12 participants right now. We'll monitor that closely and then we'll get started in about 2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, 14 right now. Okay. Drawing. Okay. Sorry, we have a little technical difficulties, but it's okay now. I think we are.
Okay, a couple more people joined. Should we get started?
Just a second. Okay, no, just confirmation that the webinar is recording. So okay,
So
I think
for
we
all
can.
those that did set up the checkpoint that you can actually get information from us and we can contact you. Again, you'll receive a recording of this session today. So what we'll be focusing on today specifically is the implant workflow. And this will be our comprehensive webinar to kind of show you that with Maurizio and myself. I'll speak on some of the theoretical things initially, but we'll quickly dive into the practical components where Maurizio will really dive deep in the software, open up some cases, and go into detail in terms of the process.
So before we start the webinar, I'd like to ask to the attenders a couple of questions that will help us to deliver the better information during the webinar. So I'm opening now a poll, so you can answer if you want regarding the information that we are covering today. In the meantime, Sasan, you can go on.
Yeah, you can go on to the next slide. Just touch on the agenda. Okay, so again, scanning tips. We'll be reiterating some of the ones that we've discussed in previous webinars and discussing some new options as well. And then Maurizio will talk about the tools that we specifically use for this workflow, and then going into the actual software demonstration and how the AI tool for scan body recognition is being used, as well as a Q&A session at the very end. Again, feel free, as the last times, ask your questions. We'll be reading it during the webinar. If it's, let's say, relevant or related to the topic we're currently discussing, we can go on it directly if we notice it. Otherwise, we'll get to it at the end. So scanning tips. I'd like to, even though we have some new ones here, emphasize some of the old ones that we've discussed previously. So basically being smooth to actually be fast. Don't have juddery movements. Don't jump from tooth to tooth. Try to keep your motion as flowy as possible. Keeping the surfaces dry, obviously, that's something that we also have here. So we don't want any bubbles on any of the surfaces. This allows for better occlusal contacts. Specific to the scan body, something that you want to pay close attention to is how you actually go from the soft tissue scan onto the body. And pay close attention, as it says here, to scan the mesial and distal surfaces. You need to kind of implement a rocking motion to actually be able to scan those surfaces ideally. Sometimes, depending on the structure or height of the scan body, that can be a challenge. Just make sure if you have the rocking motion in mind, that shouldn't be an issue. And you don't only have to do this from the occlusal perspective. You can actually do this also either from the lingual or the buccal. And the scan body installation, that's also quite important. So you usually want the actual surface that's kind of the primary recognition point for the scanner and the software to be either on the lingual or on the buccal. You don't want to have that flat surface on the mesial or distal. All right, so what I just kind of touched on is the actual flow going from the soft tissue onto the base of the scan body. That's something that needs to be as smooth as possible so that there's a clear connection also for the software, that it's actually attached to the gingiva in that way. Not physically attached, but so that it's positioned ideally. If you start with the tip of the scan body and actually scan your way down to the gingiva, there may be connection issues. The height might be deemed incorrectly. So make sure you're always scanning from the soft tissue and then completing the scan by going all the way to the top. Start with the flat surface, basically, and attach the rest to it. And in general, anything that you're doing in the restorative or any of the restorative workflows, whether it's dentures, implants, use the high resolution scan.
Okay. Thank you, Sasan, for
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
advice. So let's go now with the tool and the software. So we will focus on the tool to optimize your workflow. So similar to the previous webinar, this is the list of the software that ScanFlow has. And today we will focus on some of the tools are actually in common with the restoration workflow. What we will focus today more in depth is the scan body AI assist that will explain how it works at the end of the webinar. But regarding the scan and the preparation of the file for the lab, we'll focus on the lock, on the reverse lock, and the keep during the scan, the snapshot tool for the measurement, the option for the superimposition, because as you may know, someone doesn't know, reading the answer of the poll, we introduce a new workflow for implant from the version 108 released in April this year, with a three-way triple implant scan flow. So as the restoration workflow, there is also the preparation check and the parallelism check to see if the section are correct, and the distance for the preparation and the scan for preparation are correct. In terms of measurement for the implant scan, also here really similar to the restoration workflow. So we have the preparation check when you can actually see for the implant workflow with the superimposition of the on the prep tooth or the original tooth before the extraction. If you have that scan, you can also see the superimposition of your scan body to see if the insertion of the screw for the retaining for the screwing the crown on the implant is actually passing to the right position. The occlusion check as the restoration to check the height measurement on your scan of your arch with the implants and the antagonist, and also the parallelism check in case of bridges to see if the actual insertion of the two or more implant are actually parallel or no, or you need to do some adjustment in your design to allow a better strength and of the arch of the bridge, and have better, let's say, resistance to forces of bite, etc., etc. Regarding the scanning assist, this is already spoke in the previous webinar, but I want to focus on this because the software included more than one scanning assist. So the first three is actually warning or advice from the software itself about the quality of your scan. So the first one is this now quite famous arrow that appear on the on screen if you are not scanning properly the connection between the lingual and the buccal side. So if you don't start from occlusion and you start from a lingual and then go straight to the buccal, you don't have enough information on the occlusion, and the software is not able to connect properly these two surfaces. So it shows you this arrow explained to follow the arrow with the scanner to cover the missing information. The gap warning, this is actually really important, especially for implant case. If you are doing like immediate loading, for example, and you have like bloods because you just put your implant, you need to be careful because saliva and bloods are creating problem with the surface, with your tissue. And if there are some different information in the scanner, the matching of the picture that the scanner is capturing not matching properly because there are some problem with the scanning surface, the software is highlighting with this dark, like umber, dark yellow color, the surface that need to be rescanned. And like always, the whole highlighting that especially for as explained at the beginning by Sarsan, you need to be careful covering and scanning the mesial and the distal area, as explained in the restoration webinar last week. The contact point of your crown, even if it's a restoration or an implant case, need to match with the real surface of your mesial and distal tooth. So scanning properly that area, it's really important to have a better design and the fitting. In terms of artificial intelligence tool, we have the anti-reflective mode. In this case, the anti-reflective could be helping doing the scan of the implant, because if sometimes reflecting surface of the actual implant can create some artifacts. So if you have a 3700 or a 3800 scanner, you can activate this anti-reflective mode to scan better the surrounding of the implant without any scattering or reflection that can create some issue in the rendering. The artificial intelligence for the soft tissue removal. This is important for avoiding scanning lips, cheeks, or like finger with gloves, etc., etc. So the software, if you have enough powerful video card on your PC and you can activate this function, this will help to have a clean scan during all the phase of the implant workflow. The soft tissue removal is supported by any scanner, so from the 3600 to the 38. Last but not least, this is new for this webinar, is the scan body AI assist. So we develop a new algorithm that we actually introduced with the software 108. It's a guided scan with an artificial intelligence algorithm that help you to do a better scan body scan. I will explain better how it works at the end of the webinar. Both this AI soft tissue and the scan body, for that we recommend a 6 GB of VRAM. In the latest update that we released 2 weeks ago, and you should receive the automatic updates this week or the past week. We made some changes with this option that works also with 4 GB of RAM, video RAM, but the recommendation of 6 GB is always in place, because more video memory you have and better the function works. So let's move on software demonstration and scan evaluation. I took some demo scan on some models, and before go to the software, I want to explain a little bit better about this implant tripod scan workflow. So I can see from the poll that a few of you, almost like 40% of you, already know and is familiar with this, but 60% know or yes, but need training. So what we change in the version 108. So we add an additional scan for the implant workflow. What does it mean? In a common scan, you can capture now your temporary crowns or bridges and the occlusion. Or if you have the chance, the original tooth, so the patient natural tooth before the extraction, before placing the implant. This is help you to have a better occlusion and better information for your upper and lower jaw connection. Then you can copy the data or start a new scan to scan the emerge profile. Deciding to copy the data or start a new scan depending of the case. If you have just one or two implant, you can copy and just cut out the implant. If you have a more big area like or a full edentulous or so big like soft tissue surfaces, it's probably easier to start a new scan and rescan the full arch. And in the last option, like before, we have then the scan body scan, where you can scan your scan body following the instruction that we gave at the beginning of the webinar. So placing the mathematics, so the flat surface of your scan body, lingual or buccal, depending of the space you have with the scanner. So if it's an anterior tooth, it's easier to put it like buccal. If it's posterior, it's maybe easier lingually, but that depends of the situation and the space you have in the mouth of the patient. Last but not least, the software that now allow you to do a matching. So if you start a new scan, or when you do move from the common scan to emerge profile and the scan body scan, if you have to do a big cut, for example, because you have a let's say like an hybrid workflow with implant and restoration, if this cut is too big or you start a new scan, the orientation of the model is not the same of the common scan. So in the common scan, you have the bite and you need to have the other two scan aligned with the first one. So to do that, you will have the matching feature at the end that automatically align the three scan in the corresponding position of the bite information of the common scan. So let's move now to the software itself. So I took few scan in a model, and one case starting from the provisional tooth and one case starting from the merge profile directly. And I can show you, speaking about bite, that we have two options here, two cases. And why we add the function, the option to scan a provisional tooth? Because if you have, like in this case, a big missing tooth, so a big edentulous area like this from the 24 to the 26, you can see on the left side that on the 27 and the 23, you actually have a stronger contact than the right side. So this is the same model, same scan, one scan with without provisional tooth, one scan with the provisional tooth. What does it mean? Because if I need to, in the left one, the bite it's unbalanced on the right. Is actually left quadrant. On the left side, the bite is actually more balanced to the old arch. So if I do a design of a restoration on implant on the bridge, on the left one, I maybe have contact correctly. So contact based on this scan that maybe create an unbalanced bite for the patient. On the other side, we have a more balanced bite. So the lab can also start from the provisional to design the crown, or from the original tooth if you didn't extract it yet, and have a better result for the crown and for the bite balance of the patient. So regarding the triple implant scan,
I think one thing we should just keep in mind is if you are actually going with the ideal scenario of using an initial scan with the temporary bridge or crown, and having a more balanced, let's say, more spread out, evenly spread out bite, or occlusion, is that with the actual final work, which honestly is, especially if you have dental technicians actually creating it by hand, it's really a work of art. It's a shame to have to reduce much more of that tooth potentially, or even have to polish other occlusal surfaces of other teeth that are otherwise healthy and would have been a normal contact had you done it differently. So it's a good feature.
Okay, so this is, for example, an example with a provisional, let's say. So how it works, these three-way scan. So in the first scan, you scan your provisional tooth. And the good thing about the software that you can scan this, if you don't have the implant ready, or you don't have the scan body ready, or you want to, or this is, for example, the situation where the customer still have the original tooth before the extraction, for example, you can save this data. You can save the scan and the raw data and re-import it in a second time, and then add the implant workflows, and then add the emerge profile and the scan body. So scan the common scan, then you cut out and you scan your emerge profile. Let's remove the color to have a better view. And then at the end, you have your scan body. And speaking about the tools, we were speaking about the superimposition, for example. So the superimposition allow you to view the twist scan and check if the alignment is correct. The preparation check allow you to check the superimposition of the twist scan and check also, for example, let me put it right in the middle of my implant and see a cross section to the cross section of my implant and scan body. You can also take measurement if you need. And take screenshot, and all the screenshot that you take will be saved in the database, in the patient database. And as explained in the previous webinar, all the screenshot that you take or the measurement when you send the file to the lab to our IS Connect portal, everything is included. We have also the parallelism check that works really well with the scan body, because you can actually position the flat surface easier, and this will show you the degrees between the two implant. And you can also take a screenshot of this, for example. Okay. And if we speak about scan, I can go back on the scan and show you importing the scan. And we can see the function during the scan. So the lock, the reverse lock, and the keep function. Okay, taking a few seconds imported. So in this case, for example, I imported just the common scan. So a situation where I scan the patient, okay, I save the scan, and from here I need then to scan the emerge profile and the scan body. So from here, let me just connect my scanner. From here, I can add the implant workflow, cutting out on the emerge profile. I can copy my common scan.
You change your scan music.
No, unfortunately. So you can cut out the provisional and then start to scan. Just your emerge profile. One of the tips during the scan of your emerge profile. So if you follow the webinar, the previous webinar, we speak about the depth of scan of our scanner. That is, has the volume of the scan, so dimension and depth of the scanner. It's really close to the tip. Actually, it's negative inside the tip. This can create some situation where you need to scan a really deep edentulous area like this one. So if it's really deep, sometimes the scanner, if you are scanning from the top, it can struggle, but you can always scan lingually and buccally to cover this area. So once you scan your emerge profile, then you go to the implant, so on the scan body, sorry, and then you can copy, you can decide if you copy your common scan or your emerge profile. We can copy our emerge profile, and then we can add our scan body. From here, you have two locking options. So there are the reverse lock and the normal lock. Let me cut out the implant. So when you cut out the implant, always cut just the implant, no more. Anything bigger than this is actually too much. So in this phase, you then mount your scan body. Okay. And then as suggested, you can scan your scan body from the soft tissue and up. Don't need to scan too much. The really important thing is this flat surface. That is the one that is matching with the library. So we have more than one scan body here, and the scan body are identical. So what does it mean? If you start to scan a second scan body, the software can, let's say, thinking that you are still scanning the first scan body. Okay. And especially if you don't have tooth around the scan body as a reference. And then you have two locking options. There are two ways of thinking about this locking option. So the one is the reverse lock, when you select an area and the software lock everything else to avoid this mixing. And it works in this way. So you start. For example, if I try to scan in an area where the software is locked, the arches locked is not scanning. So you scan in this way, the scan body. Then you have this other scan body to scan. Let me mount it. And another way of thinking about this scan body that actually works better in case of bigger dentulous area is using the normal lock. So let me remove the lock. So you can use the normal lock and just lock the already scanned scan body. In this way, you have the rest of the arch as a scannable area. So to use it as a reference, and then you just need to scan. So it doesn't scan if I pass on this scan body, but it starts to scan in this one. It's actually depend on the situation. So use the reverse lock to block everything but the scan body. It's a method, but in case of big dentulous area where the or full dentulous where the reference point are difficult to catch up because soft tissue is actually has less reference, let's say, than hard tissue like tooth, like enamel. You can lock the single scan body that you already scanned to avoid the overlap of the two scan body. Regarding the keep function, this is the keep function forces the software to render everything as it is. So one of the most common mistake when you scan a scan body, it's to scan the head. If you don't scan the scan body from the tissue as suggested, but you scan from the head, or you have a scan body with really shiny metal part of the bottom, and you don't have, for example, an anti-reflective mode to scan the surface, can happen that the scan body is actually disconnected from the tissue and then floating. If this happens in the check stage, the software can think that the scan body is actually a soft tissue to remove because the software is smart enough to understand shapes, but everything is not connected to the tissue. It doesn't have any little connection with the tissue can be recognized as a soft tissue to remove, and the software will cut out your scan body. In case you have this and you cannot rescan the surface, so you can rescan the connection with the tissue, you can always go back to scan, use the keep function, highlight the scan body with the keep function, and in the check stage, the software will be forced to keep the scan body as it is. Will be floating, so will be not connected to the tissue, but at least you will have the shape of the scan body for the design, for the lab to do all the planning and all the design. We don't have any questions so far.
One thing I just want to highlight at this point, and I'm sure any Dexis user has noticed this also, there's a multitude of various different tools. Really understanding the tools, what types of tools we have, what tools there are, and understanding how each of them individually functions allows you to work quite flexibly. There's not always only one way to getting to the actual solution or result that you're looking for. There can be multiple ways. So the more you familiarize yourself with the actual software, how the scanner works, and all the tools that you have available, which are also growing update for updates. They're getting smarter. We're also adding features to them, right? The better off you are. So the best thing that you can do if you have any study models at home, any typodonts, for instance, at least practice before you actually have a live patient in your dental chair. You'll be much more confident going into the actual scan, whether it's dentures, whether it's implants.
I actually forgot to show the last and most important part. Okay, the matching. Sorry if I have to stop the rendering, but as I showed before, basically, if you start a new scan and or you'd have to cut too much, especially on the part where you scan the bite, sometimes the software mess up your your alignment, and then you can enter the matching, and the software will match all the 2 scans. Very important if you are doing a full edentulous or something scan with big edentulous area, like or like a big bridge on the molar or something like that. Scan really wide on the soft tissue. For example, if it's the upper jaw, scan well all the palate, the full palate, so the software can use the palate as a reference. Or in case of the lower jaw, scan properly the frenulum area, so the software can use that. So in this case, the software is doing actually a full automatic match. In case this match is not working properly, you can also always do a manual match. So selecting, starting from the merge profile as a reference, then you can select the one with the scan body or one with the provisional tooth, and then you just need to select 3 common points. It doesn't need to be really precise. Can be and in this way, the software has a starting point to do this match. There is a question. So yeah, the matching is done automatically as soon as the software has enough tissue or information to match. In case the matching doesn't work automatically, you can always do so basically using the dots, you don't need to be really precise on the position of the dots, but you give to the software a starting point. So if you select the dots like this, for example, even if I select this green one a little bit off, let's say, the matching will work anyway, because you give to the software a starting point, and from there it will use as much as possible matching. So we have a question regarding, do you do the manual matching? So we can do it here. The manual matching is here. Point-based matching, it's called. This is the automatic. And this is the manual. So the one with this small pen icon is the point-based matching. So you just click on 3 points. So first the up option, the up arch, then it's not the lower, it's the matching. So 1, 2, and 3 matching color, and then you click the apply, and the software will do the match. And even if you even if they are not precise, like here you can see it's not in the same position, okay, is a starting point for the software to have a starting position and then close the matching properly.
Just as a guideline, remember that every point that you place actually has a unique color, and that you need to actually match the above with the below. Just in case later on, if you're with a patient, you happen to forget that you first need to go back and forth between the jaws, basically. Keep that in mind.
So yes, you can zoom the tools to mark the point. So you can actually zoom and move. So with the wheel of your mouse, you can zoom. With the left, pressing the left, you can move it. But as I said before, it's really not important that the position of the dots are really in the same position. So it can be also like this, let's say. It's just to give to the software a starting position to then automatically do the match. Because sometimes the software is not able to understand where is the, so if, for example, if we match the 3 points here, okay, then the software has a starting point to see, okay, these 2 arch actually can match in this position, and then complete the match.
I think there's one more related question at this point.
Under every match, so here is to switch between the common scan and the scan body. And here is to switch from single arch or full arch. And here is the reference for the emerge profile. There is a question to review the locking function. Yes, so let's. So the locking function, sorry, it's necessary when you have more than one implant, basically. And just to explain you, so the scan body are technically identical, one to the other, has really little difference or no difference between other, or in some cases you use the same scan body and you move it between implants. What could happen, because this 3D scan, the intraoral scanning, is basically based on shapes scan, can happen that you scan one scan body and then you move to the second one. And if the if the region that you are scanning doesn't have a really good reference point, like an adjacent tooth, and you have just soft tissue around, there is a little chance that the software is thinking that you are still scanning the first scan body and mixing the scan and creating a weird arches scan. In this way, to avoid this, you need to lock the scan body. So you have two options. Use the reverse lock, that when you that the software highlight what you are not selecting. Okay. Or you can lock, you scan one scan body and then you lock it, and then you go on to the second one, you scan the second scan body and then you lock it, and then you scan the third one, etc., etc. Okay, so the automatic, so the manual matching is actually, if you scan properly enough data, it's not necessary to do the manual matching. Okay, there is a you actually have a, so there is a question, what is the benefit of scanning a merge profile scan when you don't have any saved file from this stage? Actually, you have. I mean, all the 3 scan are can be exported. So if you go to the check stage and export, the software will export an STL file for every stage. But if you are using the ScanFlow, Dexis ScanFlow software through CS imaging, unfortunately, due a limitation of CS imaging, the emerge profile is not exported if you save your STL file from CS imaging or you send the case to the CS Connect, so the Custom Dental Connect portal. In this case, what we suggest is to use Dexis ScanFlow for the export or use the IS ScanFlow to share your file with the lab. There is another question. Can I export the data directly from IS ScanFlow to ExoCAD? Not directly, but if you send your file to IS ScanFlow, IS Connect, sorry, IS Connect it's able to download then from the lab side an ExoCAD project, basically. So we are actually open to ExoCAD. And also, for example, in a restorative case, if you have a mixed case with implant and restoration, and you design a margin line with ScanFlow, this margin line will be exported as a coordinate file compatible with ExoCAD. last but not least, in case you have an hybrid case, like with implant and restoration, the suggestion is to use the Emerge Profile tab to scan the restoration, because this one will be the file that will be used by the lab to then design the actual prosthetic. Okay, last question, then we go to the scan body AI. What's the common mistake during the implant scanning?
I think if you just keep the general scan tips in mind of
yes,
how you're supposed to scan, then there's very little you can technically do wrong.
yeah.
Otherwise, simply doing multiple scan bodies one by one also guarantees the highest level of precision in terms of preventing that the soft tissue collapses in itself. But if you take too long between scan body scans or preparing the scanner to scan the rest, so do things one by one, do things step by step, and keep general best practice scanning technique in mind, and you should be fine.
Yep. Avoid to scan the scan body from the head. That's the best suggestion I can give you. Okay, so we have few minutes left, and with these few minutes, I want to give you some advice on explanation of the scan body AI assist. So this scan body AI assist, it's a new protocol that we introduced with the ScanFlow 108, and we actually improve it on the 109, and we keep improving in the future version of the software. So what is actually do? For now, we have these 5 brands of scan body validated. So ELOS, Straumann Cares, Thomen, Medentica, MIS, so MIS, and SIC or SIC, I don't know how to read it. And basically, what the algorithm do? So we collect data of real scan body on real patient in the last few months, and we are still keep collecting real data. And basically, we send our algorithm to school. So we teach the algorithm how to recognize the shape, and basically, when you are scanning the scan body, the AI is understanding that you are scanning that shape, that type of scan body, and automatically correct any distortion and fill any gap on your scan body automatically. And so there is no replacing with the library. We don't work with library. We don't work with the STL file. The data that you provide to your lab, it's a real scan. It's a real scan body scan with no artificial replacement of the scan body. It's a real scan guided by an artificial intelligence algorithm to recognize the shape and correct any distortion. We did actually test, okay, checking a matching in Exocad or in let's say restorative and design software, scanning the same patient with and without, and we saw that with the AI, it's easier to scan. Let's say it's easier to do not make mistake. We will introduce, we will add more scan body in the future. So we are working with the scan body manufacturer to collect data and train our AI to add more brand. In the next version, there will be other 5 brands, for example. And for now, this scan body AI assist is only for the 38 wired and 38 wireless, but we are working to release also this for the 36, 37. I hope this explains how our artificial intelligence for the scan body works. Yes, so the software is able to understand when you are doing the scan of the, so the question is, what if a patient with Straumann and Nobel scan body at the same time, can I still use the AI? Yes, the answer is yes. You can actually use the AI on even if the scan body is not in the list. So the good thing about our AI is that the software is able to understand and recognize the scan body that you are scanning in that moment. So all the branded included. You don't have to select a brand before. You just activate the AI and start scan. And if the software is recognizing the scan body, it will help to. You will notice if you try the function, you will notice that the appearing on screen and building of the scan on screen is actually faster with the AI activated, because the software is actually recognizing. You say, okay, I know this shape, I know this thing that you are scanning, so let me help you complete the scan. Okay. So, okay, more questions are coming. Is the best to scan the prep with the merge profile, workflow, and the scan body later? Yes. So in my opinion, my personal opinion, if you can, it's better to scan the preparation in case of you have like preps and implant on the emerge profile. But I saw case where the prepper scan on the scan body. Honestly, I prefer to use the merge profile because I can focus on the preparation. And then when I move on the scan body, I can lock the area of the preparation and focus on the scan body. That's it. What is suggestion for one scanner? That is the time of scan is around 40 minutes. Laptop is strong, it's possible to scan, have problem. Depend what that 40 minutes, what is creating that 40 minutes delay. So if the scanner is actually struggling to scan and the laptop is really strong, it's really powerful, there are maybe some problem with the calibration. As we mentioned in the previous webinar, the scanner, the Dexis iOS, use structured light technology that technically does not need any calibration. So, but for example, a really bad or deformed tip because you sterilize too much over the 60 or 110 time that we recommend, or it's, I mean, there is a lot of fact that can affect your scanning. So the first thing to do is to change your tip or be sure that the tip is working properly, or check with different tip if you have more than one to see if the behavior change. And if still, my recommendation is to get in contact with your distributor, with your seller. They have tools that can verify the calibration. And tools that they can also collect the log from your PC to verify if this slowness is caused by maybe settings on the computer or something with the scanner. So it's actually better to let a proper dealer certified technician to look up on your scanner on your laptop, and they have all the instruction to verify that. And if you cannot, they can always contact our support team for that is we have a dedicated support team for all our certified dealer technician that can help to identify any problem with the scanner or the PC. Okay, so I think we cover everything for the implant. So the next webinar will not be next Monday, because next Monday in UK is bank holiday. So we moved the date on the 31st of October. So in that webinar, next webinar, we will cover the new denture workflow. So we will cover how to use the denture workflow, which are the options for that, and all the tips and tricks to have a better scan with the Dentulus and denture scan. Oh, there is a last question. One more question: what's the difference between scanning in HD and without it? So, if you mean this HD on the top, there is actually no difference. So this HD or no HD is just the resolution of the live reconstruction during the scan. This will not affect your quality, your precision, let's say, your accuracy. It's just, for example, if you have enough powerful PC, I recommend to keep it on high resolution. You can see better any distortion or any like gaps or affecting data. This is, for example, for like older PC that want to use the latest version of the software. With the HD disabled, it's less heavy on the PC during the scan, so you can still have a smooth scan and precise scan with a less powerful PC, and then just activate the HD to verify if everything is good once you stop the scan. But this will not affect at all your scanning quality, your precision, and your accuracy. Okay.
3 more minutes. Any final questions?
Okay, if we don't have any, I think we can move to the last slide. And thank you all for attending. And if you will receive email, I think, for the recording, or if you accept the, you will receive all the information, and follow our social and our website to have the link for the list, the next webinar next Tuesday. Yeah, there will be no worries for the link that will be shared of the whole webinar. So the webinar has been recorded, so we will be able to share with you the link.
And thanks again, everyone, for being so interactive. We had loads and loads of questions. That was really good.
Okay. Have a good night, everyone, and see you next webinar. Bye.
Bye.